Good morning, Leo. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to your June 2020 reading. And it's so great to see you. Some love here from Apollo as we're getting started. I'd like to start off by welcoming everybody. If this is your first time, I'm going to be introducing myself and walking through the format. If you're a return viewer, I appreciate your presence today. And a lot of information has been coming through today, so I'm looking forward to kind of sharing that with you. Let me put this little resplendent being down and let's get started now. I'd like to introduce myself. If you're first time here, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And the way that I design these readings is that they can be used for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. And we'll be reading for the month of June 2020. For those of you that are tuning in for the live reading, of course, today here, as we look at the past and the deep past and recent past, some of those messages will apply to the here and the now. So no matter when you tune in, this will be a relevant reading. I'd like to mention a little bit about the format. As I said, I start off with psychic or channeled information at the beginning. And what this does is it gives me a chance to really just tap into my clairvoyance, clairsentience, and I share what I hear, feel, and see in the meditation before getting started. Then we'll move along to the cards that I've selected for today, and we'll look at the Celtic Cross, the high points, any of the challenges, all the opportunities in between. And then we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. And in the latter portion, which is probably one of my favorite places during the reading, we're going to go into opportunities for healing this month. And a lot of what goes into that is going to be dictated by what we see here in the first part of the reading. And then we're going to integrate everything with not just past, present, and future kind of healing opportunities, but also a meditation. So more to come on that in just a moment. I'd like to take a moment here to welcome not just all of you, but also my moderators, Ryan and Maria. They're really great at keeping things organized, answering any questions while I'm doing my reading. And to that end, I just want to set expectations for how I interact. During this reading, I like to really focus on what's coming through. So I'm not going to do Q&A. I'll periodically look at the comments just to make sure that everybody is seeing everything and making sure that everything's resonating. But I don't do Q&A and I don't do pick a card. You can show your support, however, by using Super Chat. And that's that little icon right by the emojis. And it's a great way to send a sticker or just a positive message, which in turn also helps me continue to, buy supplies and just keep my technology up to date so that I can continue to show up each and every month. So thank you to anyone that does that. I'll thank you when the video is on replay by putting a little comment underneath the video. So I just wanted to extend some gratitude there. One way that you can show support right now is to like and subscribe. I'll mention that a couple of times. It really does help just people discover this and helps YouTube understand that this is good content. So thank you for helping out there. All right, let's get into the reading. That's why you all showed up today. As I was actually focusing on things, this morning and really tuning into the energy of the reading, what came through first was to cut cords. I literally saw all of the different connections coming out of my body. And what I was feeling was sort of a need to release or cut or let go. And I think that this can also extend not just to people in your life, but also habits or things that are distracting to you. So much as the phone was just dinging saying it's time to begin, which we're doing now, the other piece of this is look at parts of your life where you've had that little alarm call and you think, I really need to maybe stop drinking so much caffeine, stop, if you're trying to do something like stop smoking or stop drinking, also a good thing to kind of do. This is a chance to make and break cycles. So the first message was to cut cords and release habits that no longer are kind of lifting you up or putting you in the highest energy. Then after I let go of that meditation, I got this feeling that everything was starting to open up. And I think for many of you, you may find either a creative renaissance coming through for you where you have all of these new ideas, these new inspirations, especially now that people in your life that could be kind of pulling you back or activities in your life that are kind of pulling you down, they're gone. So all of a sudden you have more energy to focus on what you want. So you could either put that into a project, you could put some of that into a new relationship, or you could just expand your consciousness. So cutting first, then sort of like a flower that has new life, you're starting to open up. So I wrote down tap into your intuition or your creative flow, or I guess I actually said creative and intuitive flow. So this is a really great month for you to, once you let go of stuff, to start to see a sort of more productivity, more inspiration, more insight coming through. I also think that as we go through all of the changes in the world right now, where our schedules are getting shifted around, where sometimes we're feeling uncertain about the future, it's still really important to set some goals and targets for yourself. This is going to help you navigate things and also will assist with manifestation. So I would say now more than ever, it's important to set some goals. And it could be goals, like I said, about living healthier, thinking and being healthier, or it could also be still a career goal or a personal goal. Like within the next year, I'd like to see this, this, and this. I'm going to put everything in motion to allow that to start happening. So this will really set you up to successfully embrace the energy that we're going to look at in just a moment. And hopefully that makes sense. When we do the meditation, I'll help you a little bit with cord cutting. We can connect with Archangel Michael. I'll also just work with words and sort of like an envisioning technique that will help you if you're not really connecting with angels. So I understand that there are different ways to cut cords. We'll try a few during the meditation today. Okay, let's go ahead now and move along to the cards. At this point, I'm going to turn the camera down. I'll remain quiet while I am pulling everything here so that I can focus on the meanings as well and receive additional downloads. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being patient. Let's get into the messages ahead. Sorry, my dog just threw some toys behind me. I'm going to clean them up here. All right, so we have here, I love this. You're in great company. And the interesting thing for many of us is we're in our own company right now, and it says pull back to propel forward. And I think this really accurately sums up what a lot of us are going through right now, which is a period of time where even if you're in a sort of first responder type business or an industry that's being tapped out right now, there's still parts of your life that you've had to put on hold. It could be a graduation, it could be traveling. For those of you that are working from home, laid off, furloughed, waiting for things to get back to some semblance of kind of a normal schedule, you are really in your own company right now. And it's saying, whatever you're doing, however you're kind of situated right now, the universe is trying to set you up so that you can basically integrate, heal, and let go of anything, as we were talking about earlier, that could be holding you back. Sometimes we have to have a setback or a slowdown or some sort of a bump in the road in order to get kind of positioned into the right trajectory. Notice that this person seems to be in sort of a place of sadness or introspective energy. So think of sometimes it's kind of like if you take a nice deep breath, things have to come in and then you have more energy to sort of be able to do things. So imagine right now is kind of like that, taking a deep breath. And if you've ever been stressed out, or sometimes I pick up on these cues if you're talking to someone and they sigh, it's sort of like, okay, I understand there's more going on than this conversation. How are you? What's really going on? So I kind of feel like a lot of us right now are in that deep breath moment. So Try not to stress out so much about why it's happening, how you're going to get through it. I think it's like moment to moment, day to day, being present and understanding that you're going to be better for the experience. And setting that goal or direction, I think, is ever so important right now, because if you start to think about what is possible, what you can work on next, and maybe quiet everything down from that, the sort of like job to job, relationship to relationship trend that a lot of us go into in our lives, this is a chance to really figure out who you are, how you tick, what really is important, and everything will start to be a little bit more impactful after that. So, and it's just speaking from my own experience. If I think back into my corporate career, I know I just went from maybe 3 or 4 jobs that were very similar back to back. I just kept going to the same experience, and I wondered why certain things weren't changing. It's because I was kind of repeating things without learning from them. So we're getting a chance right now to learn to shift, and I think it'll be a great experience because of that. So learn to love yourself. The one thing that I'd love to see more of on this is you could kind of like give yourself a hug and sort of be grateful for all of the strength, all of the sort of tenacity that's brought you to this moment, and know that you can get through this. I believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself as well. All right. The center card is the 4 of stones. Stones in this deck indicate pentacles. And we have like a little baby deer here at the center here, kind of holding back a little bit, scared, nervous. And again, this is the energy of pulling in. And I love this illustration. Normally for the 4 pentacles, you would see someone holding a coin over top of their heart. And with that is the fear sometimes, like, will I have enough? Am I enough? It can be a self-confidence message. It can also be, as we see here, a sort of fear of being able to be seen, be heard, or maybe even trust people again. Sometimes you hold back because you've been hurt. So this is basically saying when the time is right and when you believe in yourself, it's going to be okay. You can get back out there. I also see the 4 of stones or the 4 of pentacles as being a foundational card, thinking of like the 4 corners, thinking also of a foundation in a house. What you do with this time right now is super important for the next 2 or 3 years. And it's also showing me that you have enough to make it. It's not sort of a ridiculous abundance, because 5 of Pentacles is breaking even. 4 of Pentacles shows that month to month could be a struggle. So this is just kind of a nod to many of you that are in a difficult situation at the moment, wondering like, how am I going to be able to sort through all of this? But guess what's on top of this? We have the Woodward card. In this deck, this actually indicates strength. And so that tells me that your tenacity, your perseverance, your ability to kind of push through is going to make the difference here. So you've got what it takes to sort of be scrappy, to be resourceful. And it's saying lean in on that sort of that attribute, or conjure that up if you're feeling a little bit more like the frightened deer that we see here. You need to find that inner strength. And now especially start to basically cultivate that energy within your own being, okay? And then as I'm looking at the deep past here, we have the Judgment card here. It's the Great Bear in this particular deck. And what I like about this is it's sort of guarding a gateway. And the Judgment card always is that passage between the past and the future, or one opportunity and another. Judgment can indicate a decision that we need to make and we've already kind of landed on, but we haven't accepted. It can also show something that's thrust upon us and requires our acceptance to move forward. So basically the message here is that the door is open and it's time to move through it. And this is in your deep past, but for those of you that are watching live, this could indicate something that you need to focus on right now. It could mean that an old way of being is starting to fade away. That could be an old job, that could be an old relationship. For some of you, you're just gonna let go of something. The interesting thing, if you look at your life, it's not necessarily the moments where like you're recognized, a graduation or a wedding. It was maybe the moment where you decided to go to college or finish a degree, or when you propose to your partner. That's the moment that everything changes. When you decide in your mind and something happens in your heart and it's the decision that's more powerful than the eventual action. It's the journey that leads you to that eventual recognition or that end point that's more important than the end point. The end point is anticlimactic sometimes, because It's almost sometimes you feel like this is what it was all about. Everything leading up to it is more sort of meaningful. So for some of you, you just might be at that anticlimactic point where you're thinking, I want more of that, everything that I just experienced. And it's hard to let go and move on to the next thing. And for some of you, you're just getting to that point of making the decision that will change your life and leading you to a new trajectory. Wherever you're out on that path, just understand that it's okay. And walking through the doorway or letting go of something, it's not the biggest deal. It's what's next. So make a decision, make a goal, set a dream, and that's going to be the wind in your sails that propels you forward. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Transformative time. I see some butterflies here in the chat. That's definitely the energy that's coming through. Okay, Queen of Cups in reverse. So with what's going on right now, it's impossible not to feel some sort of an emotional, I would say for some of you, it can be emotionally exciting. For some of you, it can be overwhelming. And I feel like we're kind of at two ends of the spectrum right now. If you can tap into that emotional flow, just like this fish, which when it's reversed is almost swimming in the opposite direction. And some fish actually do that so that they can, what is it? Basically migrate for their mating season. You can do amazing things. You can go against the flow. You can actually make an impact and still have an ability to create. But it does mean that you have to sort of set that strength within, saying, this isn't going to be easy, but I'm going to hunker down and do it. Make a decision to do it, and then push through using your desire, your passion to say, no matter what the odds, it's going to be worth the struggle. I can make this happen. And if you can do that, we have 9 of Cups in the crowning position upright, which is actually harnessing your emotional energy, your creative energy, your flow, your chi. And yes, you can do something really amazing. We even see a little bit of that here. I'm going to skip ahead when we look at love. This is actually you almost playing and working with that energy like someone that's playing a harp or weaving something in a loom. There's this wonderful ability for you to manifest and push it forward. So that's what we see here. You can either be consumed by the flow or kind of like Poseidon, take that energy of your emotions and creative flow and push it where you want to. Be Poseidon in this particular example. You don't want to kind of get overwhelmed. If you are feeling overwhelmed, which is completely understandable, normal during a period like this, it's important to reach out to someone and ask for help, ask for support. Do what you need to feel safe. So those are the sort of culmination of all the messages there. Shifting gears and looking now at the near future, we have Page of Cups coming through. And for many of you, this is maybe the calm after the storm and now being able to see a little bit more clearly. There is a potential for some of you to meet someone this month. We have a couple of page cards, so 2 of the same sort of level. It can show love, but also we have 2 of the same suit, a queen and a page. So if you're in a sort of opportunity to meet somebody new, what I'm seeing no matter what is, because we have 2 pages here, and ostensibly you would be the queen card, there would be a little bit of I would say a gap in experience, possibly in age. And so no matter what your relationships look like, whether it's a work relationship or a personal relationship, there could potentially be a challenge with respect to how responsible, how mature, how even learned that person may be. So be patient. On the bright side, it could be a mentorship opportunity for you or for someone else. And I think that you want to try to embrace the gap of whatever that is, time, age, or experience, and learn from one another. We're all timeless and ageless on a soul level. So there might be an unconventional, like May-December romance for some of you, or again, a mentorship where kind of hanging out with someone with many more years under the belt could be something that gives you a sense of calm, especially amidst all of the changes that are going on in the world right now. As an aspect of your personality, as we look at your ego this month, we have the Page of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. So this is an investment month when you're kind of looking at yourself and thinking, what can I do right now to improve my life? And what can I do to also be more open to receiving? It could be as simple as saying thank you or accepting a compliment or a gift without feeling a sense of fear of being less than, of feeling like I somehow failed, especially when we see the Four of Pentacles at the center. Again, and it's reversed. Normally a card where it's sort of like, I don't want to let you in, or I don't want to accept that I can figure this out on my own. We're at a point right now where there's nothing wrong with receiving help or asking for that help. In fact, this card is crossed by the symbol of strength within this deck. So know that when you allow people in, you're showing that you're ready to grow and learn. Just like a child, just like a student, we always need to sort of be open to experiencing something new in our lives. Of course, when it comes to money, the fact that we have a limited resource card at the center, the Four of Pentacles, and a reversed resource card here in the ego is showing fear over money, fear over time, energy, and money. I'm going to skip to the end, and then we'll continue to work our way there, because I'm heartened by seeing the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles shows that with proper decision making, with discerning sort of choices in your life and deciding like this, but not this, or I can't treat myself to this right now, maybe next month, you can make it, you can do it. This is a balancing card, and it also shows that perhaps by accepting a little bit of assistance, you move from that place of not having nearly enough to having more than enough, to being okay. So ultimately what I see is a balancing and an improvement, even if it's a modest improvement, of this feeling like you can manage everything this month. So lean on people that want to come in. I see at least one, maybe two with the 2 pages. Also, if you're seeking a new job opportunity, there could be something on the horizon here with the Page of Pentacles. But the fact that it's reversed is telling me that it's kind of coming out of left field, or it's not exactly what you were envisioning for yourself. So be open to trying new things. There could also be, we were talking about that gap. For some of you, it may be more of like a temporary position because you have a lot of experience and you're looking at this and thinking, but I deserve this, or I want something, or I don't see myself working in this forever. So that's okay. This is basically just showing you that it could be something that could sustain for a while. In the environment, I kind of look at this more as working on yourself than money. For me, usually 8 of Pentacles is a decision to start to learn, to start to invest in something that you care about. And it can also be, we're talking about this experience that's coming through that's unconventional or not exactly what you want. There might be something from this that you could take away and use in the future. It could be a stepping stone. So I love that. And also look on the cave wall, we see the hand kind of there, which for me shows a helping hand or assistance. Sometimes when we're really kind of in the weeds, working on something and not paying attention to it, we miss that helping hand. So know that there is help to be kind of like received, and that even if you don't necessarily want something in your life, if that's an opportunity, if it's there, and if it may not open up again, I think it's worth exploring. But the other piece of this is deciding to do something for yourself. This could be going back to school, doing it online, deciding to read a little bit more, explore something. Intuitive development, I was talking about that. Maybe you want to dig into something like Reiki or reading cards or just doing more meditation. Self-work this month is essential. It's going to lead to much better things on the horizon. All right, so in the hopes, fears, and opportunity, we have the 5 of Wands card, and it's reversed. And with the 5 of Wands card, a lot of times what you'll see is people that are kind of stuck in a rut. Because to me, 5 of Wands indicates a feeling of sometimes feeling like, how do I fit into this group? Or why am I doing this job? Or what's coming next? And so this is where setting goals in your life are going to be important. They're going to help you stand out, differentiate yourself from all the wands that we see here. You're going to be the one that's really the focal point. So I think if you can figure out either how this current situation or what you're doing right now in your life is setting you up for the next year, 3 years, 5 years, that's going to be super important, and you won't feel like just another cog in the machine. And ultimately, as we look at 6 of Pentacles, this is also a card of being able to set boundaries, say no, push back if necessary. Because in order to be able to have more, sometimes just saying no is what opens up the resources. I was kind of seeing in my own meditation the ability to snip all of these cords, almost like, you know, we're one of those, what is it, a marionette, where you have the strings attached and someone else is controlling you, or even when you're moving, you feel like it's for someone else's benefit. It's important to look at those relationships and situations that make you feel like you're beholden to or controlled by someone and say no more. It can also simply be like, if you have 3 people that are trying to take your time this week, you can just say no to one of them. It's a simple sort of boundary and pushing back card sometimes. So overall, I actually see a really nice message here about, there are 2 things that are kind of coming to my attention. If you can harness your emotions, then great things can happen this month. You could even have the ability to like swim upstream or against the flow. So your passion, your emotions, they mean everything this month, really. The second piece is all about resources and opening up your heart, opening up your mind, opening up the possibilities, working on something that you may not want to do, but actually could help you have the foundation necessary to do something else. And we move kind of zigzaggedly from the 4, which is limiting, to an inversed page, which is showing more like I'm working on myself, 8 of stones, which is I'm training myself or learning from this, and then 6 of stones, more than enough. 6 of stones or 6 of pentacles, that's my base card for being like able to sustain. So I feel like you're going to have a breakthrough over the course of May leading into June. And by the end of June, you should be able to have a plan, basically. That's the goal too. A plan for how to get through the rest of the year, not just the rest of the month. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's move along to the expanded forecast. I'm going to take a quick drink before we do that. In the expanded forecast, we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. The message in health is multifaceted. It has to do with mind, body, and then also your spiritual connection and how you're bringing all of those together this month. It says, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Beautiful message, beautiful card. And this really is a card of perspective, right? This was upside down. And so some of you feel like your life has been turned topsy-turvy, like your grounding isn't where it needs to be. So one thing that you can do during your meditation practice this month is to work with grounding stones. Darker stones are better. You can work with like hematite, you can work with onyx, you can work with, also for those of you that, we can't necessarily get to a bookstore, I keep this stone right by me. It's actually like a geode, but it hasn't been cracked open. I got it as a gift from a neighbor once. But you could just go and pick any stone outside, because what is it other than the earth itself? Pick a stone that you like, and you could just hold it during your meditation and feel a connection to the planet. And if you're feeling a ton of stress, put the energy into that stone and then go put it out in the sunshine afterwards. Let the sun clear it. So always have just a regular, I know it sounds crazy, but always have a regular rock or stone. And if you go for a walk today, pick one up that you like, clean it off, sit it in your windowsill for a little bit. And I especially like ones that have a little bit of color or something that catches your attention, something that's special for you. And that can be your meditation stone this month. So while it's nice to have one that is specifically good for meditation, the size of this one's better. So even though the color of this one's correct, I would go with this one because it just has more energy. It has more, it has more weight to it literally as well. So I'd love for you to kind of practice that this month. And I got that tip and technique from a Reiki teacher once who I was having a stressful day. And before she would take my phone call, she said, go outside, get a rock, breathe for a second, put the energy into that, and then we can talk. And I never forgot that lesson. And it really did calm me down. Part of it's the breathing, part of it's centering and grounding the energy, and then giving it getting rid of that, whatever that heavy energy was, then let the sunlight sort of clear it out. Taking a look at the other cards here, I do see a lot of cards that I would associate with your balance of like protein and nutrition. Feels like for some of you, there is a tendency to do too much of one thing. If I see the 9 of Cups, sometimes this is going overboard with sugar, caffeine, alcohol, or whatever your particular vice is. And the 6 of Pentacles is about balancing out and making sure that you have enough. Particularly for me, this is like minerals and protein. So take a look at what your sources of protein are. If you're vegan or vegetarian, making sure that there's enough. And if you eat meat, making sure that you're not doing too much of one source. Overall, just making sure that your plate has a nice balance and variety to it. And then in general, that your habits are just balanced as well. Everything in moderation, okay? And then emotional health and well-being. So if you need to talk to somebody this month, please do it. It's it's absolutely a sign of strength, and it's going to be very important for you to be able to harness all of the opportunities that are presenting themselves. As we look now at wealth, we have Isis, and she came through twice this month, actually. So that's really, to me, powerful symbol, and two different decks. She's a goddess that I associate with reincarnation, because that's what she did. She brought her partner back from the dead. And she has an ability to kind of find fertility and also opportunity when you would think there is none. There's a very resourceful energy with Isis here. And so it says, this situation involves your past life memories. So we're looking at wealth. For some of you, there's a chance to be able to get a job, find an opportunity through an old friend, through an old colleague. And for the rest of you, it could be sort of that cyclical energy that I was talking about. Take a look at the past. If you've been in the workforce for a while, take a look at the past 5 or 10 years and see, are there certain trends that seem to be repeating themselves? What can I do to reinvent myself? This is a phoenix coming from the ash whenever I see Isis. So you have a chance to reemerge. Also, if you've had a major setback, if you were the head of a company and now you find yourself unemployed, or if you were working 3 jobs and you're now sort of only working 1 and you're seeking a new way to do it. This is saying, try new things. Don't be afraid to take on that role that may feel like it's not a fit. You might be surprised at what it brings for you. So, but opportunities come with people that you've known before, or perhaps you're going to tap into something from the past where you feel like, hey, you know what? That's something that I've always wanted to do or always felt like I should be doing. I'm going to honor that connection to my inner desire or my past desire and conjure that up right now. So that's what I'm seeing when it comes to wealth. We talked overall about the ability to bring things into more balance with the 6 of Pentacles. So the month starts off in a more restricted state, but with your openness, with your ability to try new things, I feel like you're going to find some balance there. So that was health and wealth. Let's take a look now at love. I love this card. And this is basically such a shift from what we see here. 2 different decks, as we can see, but a very similar image and a very similar sort of energetic flow between them. So this one is saying you're in great company, and the company is yourself here. And you know, what is that song from Greece? You're the one that I love, or you're the one that I want. You need to be to the place where it's sort of like, I'm happy with who I am. I'm the one that I've been looking for. And then anyone else that comes in is going to be a partner to that. You have to have self-love first. So if that doesn't happen, whether you're in a relationship or seeking a relationship, then it's going to be a hindrance or a barrier. This also extends to other partnerships, friendships, and work relationships. If you're not happy with yourself, it's hard for people to relate to you because you'll be projecting and dealing with all of those insecurities. And instead of partnering and kind of like lifting you to the next level, people will be teaching you lessons so that you can heal the cracks in your auric field and foundation. So love yourself this month. Work at self-acceptance. If you didn't have the support growing up, maybe your mom or dad just didn't have the ability to sort of like see what you can do, your potential, then you're going to work this month on nurturing yourself and cultivating a new family, a chosen family that can do that. Ultimately, your desires, your version and vision of yourself is going to be what calls in other things. So this is absolutely a card of kind of like combining the energy of the High Priestess and the 2 of Wands and the Empress. It's very fertile energy. It's very creative energy. And also, it's no accident. I feel like we have 3 cards that are Isis here. So being able to basically push forward what you want. So in love, you can heal your relationship because she basically brought her husband back from the dead. You can recreate yourself. You don't need to take something from the past and make it the present. You can just decide, I'm going to reemerge, so reinvention. You can also create something brand new in the future. So you are the ultimate manifester. This is one of the ultimate divine feminine symbols that you could see here. So that's what we see in your destiny card, magic manifestation or manifesting. It says your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused. If your reality is the world is a scary place, I'm not going to be able to make it, I'm scared, it's not going to get better, you start to call in things that reinforce that. If you think to yourself, the world is a scary place, but I'm a strong individual. I'm resourceful. I can go against the flow. I can make it. I'm going to survive all of the challenges in front of me. I'm going to tune into my inner energy and start to attract other people that are strong, that are caring, that are leading a heart-centric life. And I'm going to make something out of this difficult situation. It's interesting that because we have so much Egyptian cards, again, I have three different decks that are showing me the same divine feminine imagery. But I would say if you look back at the symbol of power, we see it here in her third eye. Do you see the scarab beetle? It's interesting that they chose a beetle that's basically like a dung beetle as a source of reverence, because what are they taking? Something that's not so good, but what do you do with dung? You fertilize things, and from that, new things grow. So if you can take all of the crappy stuff going on in your life and view it as fertilizer and think, what can I do right now to take what's not so good, grow from it, plant new seeds in this, and then have the patience and the persistence and the vision to create something better. If you can do that, then great things can happen. But there is patience and perseverance that are a part of that. So hopefully this makes sense. This is acknowledging, yeah, sometimes life isn't what you want it to be, but we have a dung beetle and then we have a thunderbird. It's 2 in 1. And then we have the sun right on top of that. So through this period of kind of things not being the way you want it, and there's nothing wrong with saying crappy, that's what a dung beetle is, then we can rise above that and then we see the sun. So sometimes this is a message that's been coming through, and I think it was one of the cards yesterday or the day or earlier in the week, but sometimes things have to break so that you know how to fix them or so that you can get stronger. And sometimes we need those blocks in our life so that we look around us and say, oh yeah, that, or oh, I never saw this. I never considered that. So that's all this period is for a lot of us, is a chance to reinvent ourselves, reimagine things. But there's nothing wrong with acknowledging this doesn't feel good or it feels crappy, but use it as fertilizer. Take disappointment or setbacks and think, I'm going to build upon this. I'm going to learn from this, and I'll be even stronger for the lessons that it taught me. Okay. Isis has your back this month. She's a very strong energy of reinvention, reincarnation, rebirth, rising from the ashes. Very strong energy this month that you can make it work. Even if you feel like you can, keep pushing, keep swimming upstream. Let's go ahead now and take a look at, we'll review everything that we talked about, and then we'll go a little deeper. So for you, as we look at healing, it's not just cutting cords or releasing habits. It's actually also, how can I sort of open up my heart, open up my third eye and the vision around me to think of what's next. All right, let's go ahead now and do that quick review. And as I said at the beginning, release. We could actually sum this entire card up in one word, which is just release. And we saw the gateway for release here with the Judgment card, the Great Bear in this particular deck. The gate is open. Some of us are afraid because the bear looks scary, but it's basically just saying it's time, it's beckoning you in. We see, like, is that an aurora? It looks like an aurora borealis behind it too. So there's a shifting and changing that's available for you if you move through it. So release first, and then start to tap into that creative flow. So much that you can actually go upstream if you have to. And finally, setting goals, setting new insights, planting the seeds for the future, which is really what Isis was saying in almost all of the cards here in Health, Wealth, Love, and Destiny. Your catalyst this month is please practice good self-love, self-care. And it's actually very helpful for some of you, you're going to have to cry or scream or kind of work through that energy. Let it out. Find a way to do it rather than screaming, though. Yoga can be a little bit better. Painting, expression, find a way to express it, and then get back into accepting yourself and deciding that you're more than enough for yourself, for others, and you're very strong and apt and able to get through this. Fear is normal. Fear can protect us, right? When we go back to our basic instinct as a human being and as an animal, it's survival, right? And so a lot of times, protecting yourself, protecting your family, that's a normal instinct. But when we look at this card reverse, it means that sometimes we're afraid to take a step out into the unknown. And that's why strength came through this month saying, you can do this, you've got this. You can find a way to To really, in this card, it's not about harnessing or somehow kind of like ruling over someone. You see this person actually embodying that animal spirit. So if you can find the energy to be courageous, to be able to kind of step into that, that's actually, I love this illustration of strength because it's not controlling someone or something else. It's controlling yourself and bringing that energy within yourself. Then you have the ability to walk through the change. I mentioned before, it's just the decision making that is important. It's not like again, so often, I think because of Hollywood movies and everything, we look at the moment that it all happens as being the end all and be all of it. It's not. It's the change of heart and the change of mind that is the pivotal moment. So use this month, use June, or if you're watching this early, use what's left of May to help you get into that point where you think, I'm going to do it. Because whenever I think of pivotal moments in my life, one of them was to move across country to come to California. One of them was to quit my job. Other ones have been like decisions to try or take a risk with a friendship, with a relationship, with a project. But it was always like, I'm just going to do it. I thought about it enough. So use the energy this month to do all of that. Then once you've kind of loved yourself and let go of the fear, the feelings of whatever it's kind of holding you back, you'll have that energy to start moving forward again. But you do have to work through the emotional component first. Meditation's ever so important. I love that in this Nine of Cups, we don't see excess. We see someone harnessing their emotions and going into a positive state. Page of Cups, which actually on some levels is easier to deal with the Queen than the Queen of Cups in reverse. So this is movement, and this is positive movement. Pages and Knights move the needle forward. So be open to love, be open to opportunity, be open to expressing and putting yourself out there. All of those things are indicative of what I would see in a page. Page also means as you start to communicate, infuse that enthusiasm in your communication. It's an attractive force. We talked about the difference between maturity or age or experience when it comes to relationships of all sorts this month. Try to use that as something that you or your partner can learn from, and try not to use it against one another. For many of you, there's an investment that's going to happen in your own self, and that's why the Page of Stones or the Page of Pentacles was reversed. It will lead to forward momentum and movement. There's just a need to sort of make that decision. This is carrying through with that. But don't be afraid to still ask or receive help. Ask for or receive help this month. It's there, but some of you aren't paying attention to it. Some of you are so focused inward that you're not looking at bigger perspectives and bigger opportunities around you. Five of Wands is just saying that you're not a small part of that puzzle. You're moving yourself forward, just like we see with that carving on the hillside. So this is your time to stand up, to stand out. And then as we look at what all of this gives you, it's more of an opportunity to have balance in your life. Six of Stones is more than enough. It may not be everything that you want, but it's a good balancing card. So know that you can make it. You can make it work. As we look at your expanded forecast, yeah, a lot of you do feel like the world is turned upside down. But sometimes that upheaval gives you a chance to kind of like we're talking about planting seeds. It's like a field. If you grow the same thing there too much, the ground gets depleted of minerals, the crops become less fertile, and everything just starts to kind of get into a place where it's not growing. So for many of us, change is going to force us to grow. It's a catalyst for, basically soul growth. And so really focus on that this month. The first of the three Isis cards here, this is in wealth. It's saying that something from the past is going to be integral to your success in the present and the future. That could be a past relationship. It could be, some of us came into this planet with an ability that we absolutely we had it from another lifetime. So it could be your intuitive ability. It could be your healing ability. You could be a proficient piano player or artist, whatever your gift is. This is basically saying it's not an accident. You're actually tapping into something from the past. For many of us, there's something that we wanted to do as a child, but weren't embraced or encouraged to kind of continue pursuing. So this is a chance in this lifetime to take something from the past and use it. And also you might have a relationship that you can lean on that will help you. So the past is super important in being able to move forward. You are the one that makes the change. You are the one that has the power to do this. Again, we have lots of different decks that we're using, but very similar imagery. Look at the sort of Aurora Borealis energy that's in both of these cards. So even in a night, even when you feel like you're in the dark night of the soul, you have the ability to shift the energy. And that's kind of what the aurora is. It's the electromagnetic field. Like what is it? It's the particles from the sun that's sort of excited in our own sort of Earth electromagnetic shield. So it's movement of particles, movement of energy. So as you start to move your thoughts and your desires, this is all coming from her heart space. This gives you the power to walk through that portal and to get to the next part of your life, the next journey, okay? And then ultimately, this is saying you can do it with manifestation. This is in your relationship. So again, transforming your relationships into something better than they were, taking your own power and realizing maybe you don't need people in your life. All of this is key. We have 3 cards of divine feminine manifestation. I'd be remiss to not mention the fertility elements in this. So if you're looking to start a family, fantastic. If you're not, there's a lot of fertility here, so be careful. But for those of us that are not in a relationship or not looking to expand our family, fertility is good because that means that whatever you decide to put your energy into, you see a return on it. Same thing with the 8 of Pentacles. It's definitely worth your time, your energy, and your investment, okay? So use that energy of flow, of fertility, of growth, however you will, and remember that even when things are less than optimal, you can come through that and rise up. Use it as, again, kind of like fertilizer. Hopes, fears, anxieties, and setbacks give you what you need to kind of figure out, well, I don't want that. I know what I do want. I know what I don't want. And it propels you forward. Now let's move into past, present, and future influences that will help you with healing, help you move into that energy of fertility, rising from the ashes, manifestation. Looking at the past, which we could ostensibly connect with wealth, since this could affect your current career or development opportunities. We have the King of Cups in reverse. So for many of you, for me, King of Cups symbolizes your emotional state. It's also one of the divine cards for just creativity. We did get a Queen of Cups in this. So for some of you, there's an old relationship in your life where maybe you've just had a hard time getting over the person, forgiving them, understanding why that situation came into your life. This is a chance to look at that and say, thank you for the lessons learned. And it's kind of like a teacher where class is dismissed. You don't need to learn. You don't need to pull in anything else from that. And it's okay to release it. For some of you, it's tapping into an artistic or creative side of yourself that you've never given yourself a chance to embrace. It doesn't matter if this is going to make you money or move you forward. It's just honoring that, hey, I'm more than just somebody that goes to work, gets a paycheck, and repeats and refreshes this cycle day to day. You need something. I was talking to a client last night, and I said this. I said, it's really important to have something besides work or even your relationship, something for you, something sacred. So start a sacred practice this month, whether it's reading, working on a project that you love, getting out in nature, something that just makes you feel more than average, more than normal, that connects you to your creative side. And I think that's going to be ever so important, okay? Let's go ahead now and look at what's coming through in the month of June, and specifically that can help you heal or move forward with your productivity. We have the Six of Wands, which is success, and it's upright. So let me just pull this card up for you. So the Six of Wands is great. Notice how this one really doesn't have the horse kind of riding into the public arena, and it's kind of really appropriate for what's going on now, because success isn't what it used to be. It's not about gatherings and celebrations. It'll be interesting to see how over the course of the next year, sporting events and award shows and everything is conducted, because now, guess what? It's almost like Mother Earth, the universe, the powers that be took out all of that distraction and said it was always about you. It was always about how you felt and why you were doing it. The people around you, they're not here in the same way that they were. This is taking the focus and putting it inward. So why are you doing this? And this could be anything: the relationship, going to school, going to work, whatever your current life situation is. Did you do it for you? Did you do it to please others? How do you feel now that the noise has sort of quieted down? And do you still want to do it? It's sort of more of this is a chance for you to meditate on it this month. It should always be for personal satisfaction and growth and development. For those of you that are first responders and really out there, this is just showing the appreciation. Even if you can't hear it or see it, hopefully you can feel it. This is a card of success. So whatever you decide to put your mind to this month, success is there. It may not look or feel like it used to, but you still succeeded. If you couldn't walk the stage of graduation, you're still a success. If you couldn't have 300 people at your wedding, we all still love you. It's basically still there. You don't need the people right around you for that validation. You've got it right here, okay? So working on internal validation and really grounding yourself in doing it for the right reasons, not for the public, not for community, not for family, not for peer pressure, okay? But it's success, by the way. That's a great card. And we got two great cards here, Six of Pentacles, Six of Wands. Successfully being able to balance out your resources, achieving a goal at hand, which is why it's so important now more than ever to have some goals. Just because things are a little different doesn't mean that you stop setting goals and having dreams and thinking about the future. If you stop that, then you actually stop the wheel of fortune from moving, and you don't want that to happen. Let's look at the future. The year ahead, not just the month ahead. Let's look at where this is headed. Moving on, Ten of Wands. It's reversed, but nonetheless, it shows a path ahead. Very exciting. So this is showing that for many of you, this could be a journey of 10 months to a year. That the Ten of Wands doesn't have to happen lickety-split. In fact, what we see here is don't give up. That he has a journey to go before he gets to that destination. So this is saying it's probably going to get a little harder before you plateau and get to that. So don't give up on this path at hand. Know that you're already achieving many of the goals that you want, and continued success is rewarded to those who are perseverant, who work hard, who have faith, who have vision. Also, as you cord cut and release stuff, because this is a card of letting go with it reversed, this load that you're carrying gets lighter. Many of you might be carrying the burdens of your family's sort of expectations. You could be beating yourself up for mistakes made in the past with finances, with love, with whatever, that are somehow making you feel like I'm always going to beat myself up for this. It's your divine and cosmic right to feel happiness and love and to be successful in your life. And that's why we keep coming back. We do it until we get it right. Literally, success is part of that journey of reincarnation. So rather than carrying the pain and beating yourself up, accept the lesson, integrate it, and understand why it happened, and think, I'm just going to do better in the future. So I think that's going to be really, really important. And I agree. I was looking at a comment there. Nothing's going to be the same in the future. Things will shift. I've lived through a few different endemics, pandemics, and world situations. Like I was a kid when the HIV/AIDS epidemic kind of came through, or pandemic. Now I guess it's an endemic. I'm not a doctor, but basically it didn't go away. It was a virus that has stuck around, but we found ways to cope with it. But it definitely changed the ways we interacted with people intimately. We have to protect ourselves. We had to ask about history and everything. But we survived, we evolved, we worked forward from it. And now it's actually even gotten to a place where you can control it and it doesn't define you. So this too can get to a point like that. We don't know enough about it right now. But even if it were something that didn't go away like that, something that we're hearing in the news right now, it doesn't mean the end of the world. It just means a change. After the terrorist attacks in America in 9/11, travel changed forever. But we adapted to that. So yes, things will change, but they're always changing. They're just changing faster right now. Usually it takes 100 years or 300 years or a millennium for things to kind of take a full shift. But we're in a period of rapid change right now. And it's hard sometimes because you're blinking your eye and something's already shifted around a little bit. So try to have, if you can, be playful with it or have fun with it and think, well, there's a lot that I can learn right now and maybe we'll change for the better. Looking at the planet, it's healing itself right now. That's good. There are some benefits to what's going on, but there's a lot of things that are hard and sometimes it feels overwhelming, doesn't it? That's normal. So just try to have an imagination that the future will find a way to manage it or deal with it. And right now we just have to get through this. And I think that's going to be important. And looking at the month of June, getting back into it, you have the energy to harness emotions, to find balance, to be successful, and to move towards a goal that you really want to see happen in your life. So I see this goal setting time right now as being able to, really, this is looking at forgiveness, forgiving yourself, to be able to be a chance to release and open up a more fertile period, getting really into that energy of Isis here that we see at the end. Let's go ahead and meditate now. There's so much that came through. Really positive energy, though, when I'm looking at this spread, and a lot of transformative energy. But you have to kind of want to step into it. So for many of you, I think we have to go through the portal. So we'll start with this portal, and then we'll see what's on the other side in the meditation, okay? So imagine yourself standing at the edge of this cave. And we don't need to see like the scary bear there. Maybe it's hibernating. So just see yourself at that opening. And I want you to close your eyes for a second, right in front of the cave. And just take a nice deep breath and scan your body. See if you're holding on to anything. Some of you may be holding on to the stress in your shoulders or your neck or your back, because we saw the 10 of Wands. Many of you might have been sitting too much, and it's just kind of working a number on your spinal system. So sit up tall for a second, take your shoulders up and back, take a nice deep breath, feel an expansion in your heart space as you inhale. On the exhale, release your shoulders, relax your neck, sink into your chair a little bit, and just let go. For a moment here, I just want you to accept whatever's going on in your life at the moment. Good, bad, exciting, whatever it may be. Give some gratitude as you look over your shoulder to the path behind you and think, I did this. Even if this is something that's a little bit challenging, why did I do it? I'm about to learn it, because I'm going to step through this new passageway, this new portal, and I'm going to open up to new things. But right here, I'm just going to accept that it allowed me to be strong. It allowed me to get to this moment. And it's the choices I make here, now, and in the future that matter. So I love myself. I accept the good, the bad, and the not so beautiful in the past as requisite lessons that I called into my life, and I take accountability for that. But I'm not going to carry this burden forever, whatever it is. Guilt, fear, anxiety. It was just something I needed to go through, and I don't need it anymore. So imagine now, just like the 10 of Wands, you're going to let go of one thing at a time. One fear at a time, one anxiety at a time, one regret at a time. And literally look over your shoulder and see them walking away, see them parting ways with you. A gentle cord cutting, a gentle release. And even for some of these sort of ghosts from the past, you could imagine that you're nodding or hugging or sending love to them and just literally say, I love you, but I can't do this anymore. Enough is enough. Take a deep breath as you start to see the ghosts from the past dissipate and disappear in the fog behind you. Good. Feel that your shoulders, your back, just your overall energy is lighter now. You're not carrying as much with you. Tune into your heart space and make a decision right here and right now that today, tomorrow, the year ahead is going to be okay, that you're going to do something that matters. Make a goal or some sort of a decision that will change your trajectory. If you need time to figure out what that is, repeat this meditation when you're even a little bit more solid on it. But why don't we all get behind the idea that today is going to be a good day and tomorrow will be better than today. And no matter what we experience, we're going to learn from it. We're going to keep moving forward. And with that decision, with that goal, start to step into this cave of creation, this portal of energy that's going to allow you to get to the aurora borealis on the other side. As you do that, I want you to imagine what's waiting for you. And we're going to pull in positive energy as I play the singing bowl, and imagine that sort of rainbow of colors that we see on the other end, and see yourself walking into that light. See new things starting to take shape in that light. And then bid farewell to the cave behind you, the portal behind you. It's time for something bigger, something better, something brighter. Take a deep breath. Let it go. As I was playing the singing bowl, the message, I can do this, came to me. I can, I will, I am. That can be part of your meditation in the days ahead as well. Take your hands, rub them together. Place your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Melt the energy in that space a little bit, since we saw a blockage at the beginning as we were looking at the Celtic Cross. And send some love and some healing to yourself. I forgive myself, you can say aloud. I love myself. And I'm ready to let go of the past and embrace the abundance and opportunity in the future. Put your hands in your lap. Take one final breath. Open your eyes on the exhale. And welcome back, everybody. Really powerful message that came through, really healing energy, probably one of the most transformative readings I've done in a while. So I feel like you have some beautiful messages, Leo, for the month ahead. I hope that you can step into the opportunity. I hope that you can find that inner strength and embrace all of that energy of manifestation that we saw with the repeated Isis cards that came through today. I'd like to take a moment to just tell you how you can stay connected. And also to anybody that's given a super chat or super sticker, I see a few there. Just want to say thank you. You still have a chance to do it as I'm talking through everything. As I said, once we have this on replay, I'll put a little thank you there. If you haven't already followed me on social media, please consider doing that. First of all, on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe. I see like 82 likes, but a lot more people here. So if you could hit like, I'd appreciate it. You can also hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you get notifications of when I go live. On Facebook and YouTube and Patreon, it's the same username, @NicholasAshbaugh. And if you want to support me on a monthly basis, you can do it on Patreon. You can also click the join button right here. And those are both sustainable ways to give back. On Facebook, I use stories to remind you of upcoming readings. I do the same thing on Instagram. A slightly different username. It's Nicholas_Ashbaugh there. So if you'd like to join me, I'd love to have you. I'm also on Twitter, and I send out a reminder at least a day before and usually the day of. So it's @NAshbaugh on Twitter. And I know many of you like PayPal. So my PayPal address is right here, paypal.me/NicholasAshbaugh. So you don't have to remember all of this. You can just go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. And I know both Maria and Ryan have been putting these links out, but everything's on my website, including information on how to book an appointment if you want to. Thank you all so much for showing up today. The whole reason I do this is for healing, personal growth, to help all of you become stronger and more sort of self-reliant. And that's the energy that we saw today. Beautiful, beautiful ability to move through the changes. You have what it takes. You're stronger than you think, okay? Much love and light to you, everyone. I'll be back again tomorrow. The schedule for upcoming readings is also on my website. Until I see you next time, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your love and energy. And thanks again to my moderators for helping me manage everything today. Lots of love and light. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.